Alright, welcome to the Team MRN Week 4 preview video. This is the third time we've shot this video. It's okay though, we're gonna do it fast, we're gonna do it good. I am the Dynasty, the host, Team MRN editor, content creator, website writer, whatever. Joined with Inflames, the graphics website guy. He's to my right. Yes, I had to make sure I was in the right place on the screen. We're going to talk about very quickly this week, last week's review of the Team MRN games, very quickly this week's upcoming games, and then we're going to do some predictions about this week. This is a short video because we don't have any of the players with us. They're currently preparing for their games tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. A lot of games this week, so we're understanding of that. We're going to get them for a recap video at the end of the week. It's going to be good. So
hopefully with a special guest too.
Hopefully with a special guest. So, without further ado, let's talk about last week real quick. Last week we had Team MRN versus GGU and versus Vulcan. Team MRN picked up their first win in that game against GGU, which is very exciting. It was honestly a very one-sided game, although it could have gone either way up until maybe 20 minutes in. About when first blood happened, it was really still anybody's game. I think it was a very good showing from MRN in that they played well with a lead, didn't push anything, kind of responded to what GGU was giving them, and executed perfectly.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the bottom line of that game. Very good dragon control, very good map control, very good risk control. I want to say that. I want to use that term.
No, I agree exactly.
They did not risk their advantage pretty much to a possible Shen gank from top.
Sure.
So that they played it pretty well.
MVP of that game is Mega Zero on Recton, though. He picked up the first 3 kills of the game. A very nice.
Oh yeah.
Recognizing a good time to go in and starting that fight, it helped swing it.
Really good initiations.
Yeah. So moving on to the game against Vulcan, Team MRN picked that one, went with the Tarek Urgot comp that we saw a lot in the qualifiers, but haven't seen since then. The early game went pretty much in Team MRN's favor. Had a bit of a gold lead going into the mid game, but had a dragon fight and a subsequent siege that didn't work, and kind of ended the game snowballed away.
Yeah, I think one of the things that didn't work out for them is that they went for the Tarek Urgot. They thought they knew, but they didn't practice it that much the week before, so they weren't really ready for that Tarek Urgot to go in on such a strong team.
I agree, and when you're executing a comp you haven't done in a while, you really can't avoid any mistakes, and there were several mistakes that Vulcan jumped on and exploited.
Pretty much.
So it's just one of those things that they can work on and improve on. I went into much greater depth about both of these games on the website. I put it in the forums and on the front page. There's a 3,000 plus word article, something like that, that goes really in depth. And so if you want to hear more about those games and what went wrong, what went right, etc., read that. Moving on to week 4, the current standings of the LCS should be below us. We have Curse in the lead, undefeated, then Dignitas, TSM, CLG is at 500, and then the League of Legends website's a little bit broken here, but the next place should be Vulcan at 3 and 5, followed by Complexity and MRN in a tie at 1 and 3, and then GGU bringing up the rear. Obviously, they've been struggling with the weird team comp that they have players missing and moving positions around and stuff. So
yeah, unfortunately, they haven't had like their full roster because one of their players has not been able to enter the United States to actually play.
Right, Shifter is still stuck in Canada right now. It should be a couple weeks before he gets in. So moving on to the games for this week, very quickly we'll talk about Team MRN's games. We have MRN coming up against Curse tomorrow at 12 PST. It's the second game of the day, 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern. I think that it's going to be real tough for Team MRN coming in against a team that hasn't lost yet. They're going to have to be on top of their game. Hopefully they've been preparing for it, and so on. It's just something that they can get going.
Hopefully we'll see Team MRN knock down that #1 team. I mean, it should give them a strong momentum if they do.
Yeah.
And good, some rep right there.
No, I agree. Definitely, that would be very good to see. So then we have the game against CLG, which is at 6 PST. It's also 9 Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central. That's a game that's going to be interesting. We've seen CLG and Team MRN run similar comps at times, and both teams are kind of needing to solidify themselves and their strategies. So hopefully we'll see Team MRN come out really well in that game. The synergy between Aframu and Double Lift is always something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. Aframu is one of the strongest supporters in NA right now, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think they have pretty much a really, really strong bot lane with double lift and Afro.
I think the potential is very strong. I don't know if they've always performed to their best. It seems like sometimes Afromu tries to push a little too hard and it kind of backfires.
That's
So
why I use the word potential.
yeah. So the last game of Wednesday, tomorrow, is Team Marn versus TSM. That's a game that will be interesting to see. TSM, was the season 2 rather, North America champs, but have been on a little bit of a downcline since then. They're still in the top 4 teams, but they haven't been performing to their best. Hopefully, Team Marn is able to prepare for that. That's a rematch game, so hopefully they come out with the right strategies and really are able to counter what TSM's trying to do.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what Team Martin has learned from TSM from their previous match and whatever scouting they have done so far. So I think we should see some pretty good comeback strategies, I guess you could call them.
Exactly. No, I agree. Thursday, we have Team Martin versus GGU at 3 PST, 5 Central, 6 Eastern. That is the third game of the day. Obviously, Team Martin beat GGU last week, so that'll be an interesting rematch to see. I think Team Martin is just a better team right now. I don't think GGU is going to come out and have all that much that they can offer. They can try to cheese it, which they didn't do last week, but threatened to, which would be an interesting thing to see. I don't know if they will, given that they have 5 games to prepare for this week, and that is game number 4 for them. I just don't know how likely it is, but we could see it, and it could make it interesting. Any quick, maybe one-sentence thoughts about that?
Maybe they saved all the cheese they did not pull off in the past weeks for this week.
Yeah, and that would make it an interesting matchup for sure. Hopefully Team Martin's ready for it. There's a lot of games, so it'll be really interesting to see. Final game of the week for Team Martin is Friday, 7 PST, 9 Central, 10 Eastern versus Dignitas. That's another rematch. We saw them in week 2. First game of the season for Team Martin. It did not go very well. Hopefully Team Martin's able to, I don't know, just prepare and be ready for it, and then maybe a time to pull out a cheese, like we mentioned privately between me and you. I would be see a choose from Team Martin against Dignitas. It might not be something that they're ready for, and it might catch Team Dignitas off guard. So that would be a very cool thing to see, I think.
Yeah, especially since Dignitas is one of the teams that most prepares for upcoming games. Scar does a lot of research on the other teams. It should definitely be a thing to look out for.
Exactly. So those are all the games that Team Martin has this week. For any other games and so on, feel free to discuss them on our Facebook page, on the forums, whatever. Inflames and I will definitely pitch in with our thoughts when asked and so on. So feel free to do that. Lastly, we're gonna start something with myself and Inflames. We're going to do a predictions for a week by week, and the loser will have to do something for the show the next week. This week we're gonna do a super week, so we're gonna have a lot of predictions, and then the loser will host next week's show without their shirt. It should be very interesting to see our pasty chests in the webcam, or at least hopefully Inflames' pasty chest. So let's go.
That's what he thinks.
Yeah, let's do a run through of those predictions so we can just get them out there. Maybe just give one sentence when it's interesting, or maybe if we have an overwhelming thought about it. So the first game is CLG versus Vulcan.
Vulcan. I go with Vulcan.
I think CLG will take it this time. I just think that they're going to rebound from it. Curse versus Marn.
Marn, I believe.
I think Curse wins this one. I think they're stronger. I hope Team Marn wins. I will say this for all the games that I don't have Marn in. I hope Marn wins. I hope I'm wrong, but the way I see it right now, the stronger team is who I'm going to pick.
He wants to win the bet instead of believing. That's not cool.
I don't think that's true either. I just want. So okay, TSM versus Complexity.
TSM.
I have TSM as well. GGU versus CLG.
CLG.
As do I. Curse versus Complexity.
Curse.
I also have Curse. TSM versus Good Game.
Good Game.
I have TSM here. I think Good Game wins a different game this week. I just don't think it's this one.
I think it's this one.
I hope you're wrong. Dignitas versus Vulcan.
Vulcan.
I have Dignitas. I think that Vulcan kind of comes down from last week. I don't think they win as many this week. CLG versus Marn.
Marn.
I have Marn as well. I do think Marn will pull out this one. It seems like a right opportunity to knock off the top 4 teams. Dignitas versus Curse.
Curse.
I have Dignitas. I don't think Curse is gonna go win undefeated this week. I just don't see it. Vulcan versus Complexity.
I have Vulcan.
I have Complexity. I think that they're gonna knock someone off this week, get another win. I think it's this game. I don't know why, but I just feel like it's gonna be this one. Good Game versus Dignitas.
Dignitas.
I have Dignitas as well. Marn versus TSM.
Marn.
I have TSM. I want Marn. I think this one's much closer than the other games I picked against Marn. I just think TSM pulls this one out. TSM versus Vulcan. I'm starting Thursday's games now. So Thursday, TSM versus Vulcan.
Vulcan.
I have Vulcan as well. Dignitas versus Complexity.
Dig.
Also Dignitas. Good Game University versus Marn.
Marn.
Marn, I don't think this game will be close. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Marn's a much better team at this point. CLG versus Curse.
Curse.
I also have Curse. So now on to Friday, our last 4 picks for this week. We have TSM versus Curse.
Curse.
I have TSM. I don't know why. Curse seems like the logical choice here, but I just have a feeling it'll be TSM. Complexity versus CLG.
CLG.
I have CLG as well. Marn versus Dignitas.
Marn.
You have Marn going 5-0. I like
Yep.
that. Cool.
I know
think
they're
that-
going 5-0 because I mean I can see the future, and the future is you shirtless on next week's show.
I hope that future's a little cloudy. I have, I want Martin to win. I just don't see it. Vulcan versus Good Game University to wrap it all up.
Vulcan.
I have GGU. I think they win this game. I just have a feeling they're gonna win one this week.
I
think
don't
it's gonna
see it against Vulcan, who's has this momentum. I just don't see it.
I think they're gonna come down from it. I mean, I still have Vulcan winning. I think one game this week. I just don't think that they're gonna be as strong as they were last week. I think they come down a bit, and I think Good Game gets a win off of somebody, so I'm gonna put it against Vulcan. So that's gonna wrap up our predictions. Feel free to comment on them, tell us how wrong we are, so on. We like comments. We want to hear your feedback about
Feedback, definitely feedback.
it. YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Hit us up on the forums. If you know our in-game names, feel free to hit us up there too, I guess, with your criticisms and so on. Finally, for some quick shoutouts, as always, go to teammarn.com. We've got a good news section. We've got forums. You can ask the players stuff. They answer them fairly frequently. Discussions, so on. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/teammrn, no spaces. We post updates there quite frequently. It's a good place to just chat about Team Marn with other fans. And then both of us have Twitters. They're above our heads. Mine is at the Dynasty LOL, and Eduardo
At lol in flames.
at LOLinflams. I like
Feel
it.
free to add me. I actually changed it recently from my full name because
Remember that. That's why it caught me off guard at first when I was trying to remember what it was. So then and again, as we mentioned earlier, we're gonna have another video this week. We're gonna have a recap video after the games are over, probably Saturday, maybe Sunday.